Hi, here to talk about how to answer a 12-mark question on the America paper. So the question is, here's an example, but it always asks you to compare two things and then say which is the most significant. So it's a 12-mark question, so therefore you should think in terms of three paragraphs. So the first paragraph here should match up with the what the first bullet point is then. So your point, which I've marked in red here then, is the New Deal policies were an important reason why the economy improved. So then your next job is to find the evidence to be able to do that. And similarly, your second point should be to do with the Second World War. So these two things marked in red here are the points that you should make for paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. So I've indicated it here then. So the point for paragraph 1 is bullet point 1. The point for paragraph 2 is is the second bullet point. And then your third paragraph should be a conclusion as to which you think was the most important reason. So if we start thinking about how we're going to organize that then, so on this sheet of paper here then, just I've got some color coordinating here then. So the top bit is red, which would be your point. Then blue is for evidence, and then green is for explanation. So as I said, bullet point 1, so if we go on to here, so point number 1 has to be about the New Deal policies. So remember to include, this is just a plan here of what we could include then. And then the second point then has to do with the Second World War. So again, this is just an idea of how you might want to plan out your answers to these then. So for evidence then, so this is where the summary sheets come in great here then. So we need to find some evidence for New Deal policies improving the economy. Okay then, so this is what I'll do here is I'll just come up with two examples of how it improved the economy, and then we can take it from there. So what I've done here, just to speed things up then, is I've looked through the notes and I've found two really good pieces of evidence to show how the New Deal improved the economy. So the Public Works Administration and millions of jobs, particularly building public buildings, so 70% of all schools. And then the Banking Act stopped thousands of banks going under and also restores confidence. For the Second World War, then, we've got 14 million workers are involved in wartime production, so effectively unemployment is ended. 500,000 new companies set up, so that shows it's a booming economy. So now we've done point, we've done evidence. So the next thing is explanation. So explanations, as we know, potentially are the tricky thing. You can't just go back over your evidence and repeat it. You have to kind of step back from the question and really, think about, well, how would this help improve the economy? So you might want to have a little pause for a minute on the video and see if you can come up with some answers yourself for the explanation, and then we'll go through some of the answers together. Okay, so hopefully you've had a little chance, you might have paused the video. So what could we go for explanation as to why these factors would improve the economy? Well, let's have a think about it. We've got millions of jobs. So one explanation thing you could say then is that these millions of jobs which have been created by the PWA, what does that mean? It means lots of wages, and therefore what can happen then is that people will spend. Okay, then they will spend that money in the new economy, and therefore it's going to generate lots and lots of spending. So if people are spending, then that's going to help the economy to improve. The other thing is for the banking system, how is that going to improve the economy? Well, because it basically saves the financial system. Okay, then without banks, the financial system can't work. So it saves the financial system, without which the economy wouldn't work at all. So these are the key main points then that you could go for an explanation then. So millions of jobs equals lots and lots of spending, which will help the economy. And the Banking Act saves the financial system, which is obviously vital for the economy to improve. If we go on to the Second World War question then. So for an explanation then, some ideas you might want to come up with then. So we've got 14 million workers, unemployment is effectively ended. Okay, then so that's very similar. Again, then is because of all those wages that are being paid to these workers. Obviously, there's a huge amount of spending to go on then. So that means if people are buying cars and they're buying refrigerators, and so on. So wages equals spending. Also revenue from taxation. Okay, you could bring that into an explanation question. And then, because America is probably the only functioning economy in the world, because other countries are caught up in the fighting then. So one of the things, and this is the reason I would use the Second World War is probably the most significant or the most important reason the American economy improved, is you could get this down as an idea that America, because of World War II, has got an expanding market. Okay, so their market now then, so this is me writing down an explanation then as to why the Second World War then is going to prove so important for improving the American economy. So America's got an expanding market, and if you want a great example of that, half of the weapons made in the world, so half of the weapons made in the world um, are produced in the US. To me, that would be a clinching argument as to why the Second World War was probably the most important reason why the American economy improved after the Depression. So as you can see here, this is the two PE paragraphs then. So we've got the point, we've got two pieces of evidence, then explaining exactly why that answers the question. The question, remember, is how did it help the economy improve? Well, because millions of jobs equals wages being spent. Um, the banking system saves the financial system, without which the economy couldn't function anyway. The Second World War then gets rid of unemployment with all these jobs in wartime production, but also America is able to sell their stuff all over the world. And a great example of that is half the weapons in the world are produced in the US. If you put that on the end of your explanation, that would count as a conclusion, or you may want to do a third paragraph which explains the point. I mean, you could argue the other side as well. You could say New Deal policies, for example, if the financial system hadn't been saved during the New Deal policies, America would have been in no position to, have this huge wartime production and so on. So either point can be argued as the more important, but I think that's a really good clinching piece of evidence. So hopefully that helps you understand how to tackle this 12 marker.